Commander Sarah Chen stood in the observation dome of the Lunar Defense Station, her eyes fixed on the gleaming hull of humanity's most ambitious project, the UES Atlas. The quantum consciousness-driven warship represented everything humanity had achieved in the last decade of desperate innovation. Unlike the brutal efficiency of traditional warships, the Atlas was beautiful, its silver-white hull flowing like liquid metal, its neural interface spires rising like delicate crystal formations. Final diagnostic complete, Commander, Dr. Amit Patel's voice came through her neural link. The consciousness core is stable. All 20,000 quantum nodes are synchronized. Sarah closed her eyes, letting her consciousness expand through the neural network. She could feel the Atlas, not just as a ship, but as an extension of human thought itself. Every crew member would be connected, their minds working in perfect harmony with the ship's systems. It was either humanity's greatest achievement or its most desperate gamble. The holodisplay flickered to life, showing Admiral Torres's grave face. Commander Chen, the Kryvax fleet has crossed the Kuiper Belt. Their message remains unchanged: surrender Earth's resources within 24 hours or face extinction. Their previous conquests suggest this isn't a bluff. Sarah nodded, studying the tactical display. 5,000 Kryvax warships, each a kilometer long, arranged in their signature pyramid formation. Traditional military doctrine said it was impossible to defeat a force that outnumbered you 25-1. But the Atlas didn't play by traditional rules. The consciousness core is different from anything they've encountered, Sarah said. Dr. Patel's breakthrough changes everything. When our minds link with the ship, we don't just control it, we become it. Theory and practice are different things, Commander, Torres warned. The neural load of combat will be shared across all 200 crew members, Sarah finished. We've trained for this, Admiral. The Kryvax rely on logic and overwhelming force. They've never faced human intuition amplified by quantum consciousness. The Admiral's hologram flickered as he leaned forward. The Atlas is all we have, Commander. Every other ship we could build in the last 5 years wouldn't even slow them down. If this fails. It won't, Sarah said with quiet certainty. The Kryvax think they're facing a primitive species with a single ship. They don't understand what we've created here. The Atlas isn't just a warship, it's humanity's combined consciousness given form. She turned to watch as her crew began arriving through the lunar shuttles. 200 of Earth's finest, chosen not just for their skills but for their neural compatibility. Each one had spent months training with the consciousness core, learning to merge their minds with the ship's quantum network. Dr. Patel joined her in the observation dome, his dark eyes bright with barely contained excitement. The consciousness core is drawing power perfectly, he said. The quantum field will allow us to process information millions of times faster than any conventional computer. In battle, we'll be able to react to threats before they even fully materialize. And the neural load? Sarah asked. 200 minds linked together in combat. We'll create something greater than the sum of its parts, Amit finished. The human brain is still the most sophisticated information processing system we know of. We're not just networking computers, Commander. We're networking human consciousness itself. Sarah watched as the final preparations were made. The Atlas's hull seemed to pulse with inner light, its quantum field already responding to the proximity of its crew. Soon, they would all be linked together, their thoughts and reactions moving at the speed of quantum entanglement. The Kryvax were coming with their 5,000 ships, their perfect logic, and their absolute certainty in their superiority. They expected to find a primitive species cowering behind obsolete technology. Instead, they would face something unprecedented, human consciousness elevated to its highest form, creativity and intuition moving at quantum speeds. Send word to Earth Defense Command, Sarah ordered. The Atlas will launch in 6 hours. And send a message to the Kryvax fleet. She paused, allowing herself a slight smile. Tell them humanity declines their offer of surrender. And we look forward to showing them why. As her crew began boarding procedures, Sarah took one last look at Earth hanging in the black sky. Everything humanity was, its dreams, its determination, its defiance in the face of impossible odds, had gone into creating the Atlas. Now it was time to prove that consciousness would triumph over brute force. The battle for Earth's survival was about to begin, and Sarah Chen intended to show the galaxy why you should never underestimate human ingenuity. The neural link initialization felt like diving into an ocean of light. Sarah Chen's consciousness expanded, merging with the Atlas's quantum network as 200 minds synchronized into a single, vast awareness. The ship wasn't just responding to their commands, it was becoming an extension of their collective will. Neural synchronization at 98%, Lieutenant Maya Rodriguez reported, her thoughts flowing through the network with practiced ease. As the ship's neural system specialist, she monitored the delicate balance of their linked consciousness. Quantum field is stable and responding to collective input. Through their shared awareness, Sarah could feel her crew settling into their roles. In the engineering sector, Chief James O'Connor's mind was merged with the ship's power systems, his decades of experience allowing him to fine-tune the quantum reactor's output with unprecedented precision. The weapons teams, led by Lieutenant Commander Kai Zhang, were already running combat simulations at quantum speeds, their combined consciousness processing millions of possible scenarios per second. Kryvak's fleet holding position at Jupiter's orbit, Tactical Officer David Wells projected through the network. His thoughts carried images of the enemy formation, 5,000 ships arranged in their distinctive pyramid pattern, their crystalline hulls reflecting the distant sunlight. Sarah directed her attention to the consciousness core, where Dr. Patel was monitoring the quantum field matrices. Unlike traditional computer systems, the Atlas's neural network became stronger as more minds joined it. Each crew member brought their unique perspective and skills, creating a symphony of human thought that moved at the speed of quantum entanglement. "They're scanning us," Lieutenant Rodriguez reported, her consciousness highlighting the incoming sensor beams. "Their energy readings must be confusing them. The quantum field doesn't match any known technology in their database." Through their shared awareness, Sarah felt her crew's mix of tension and excitement. They had trained for months in simulations, but this was different. Real combat would test not just their technology, but their ability to maintain neural cohesion under extreme stress. "Commander," Dr. Patel's thoughts carried a note of discovery, "the consciousness core is performing better than expected. The quantum field is adapting to our collective neural patterns, creating new pathways for faster response times. We're actually thinking faster than the simulations predicted." Sarah directed her attention to the tactical display, watching through 200 pairs of eyes as the Kryvak's fleet began to shift formation. In their linked state, she could process their movements with extraordinary clarity. The enemy ships moved with perfect precision, their formations mathematically flawless, and utterly predictable. "They rely too heavily on programmed responses," Lieutenant Commander Zhang observed through the network. "Their battle computers are powerful, but they can't match the creativity of human consciousness." Sarah felt agreement ripple through the crew. The Kryvak's greatest strength, their absolute adherence to logical efficiency, was also their weakness. They couldn't comprehend the quantum consciousness technology because it didn't follow their rules of warfare. They expected machines they could understand, not 200 human minds working as one. "All stations, prepare for advanced combat positions," Sarah projected through the network. The Atlas responded instantly, its hull reshaping itself as the quantum field adjusted to their collective intent. Unlike conventional warships with fixed configurations, their vessel could adapt its form to match their strategic needs. Through their shared consciousness, Sarah felt Dr. Patel's growing excitement as he monitored the quantum field's response to their preparations. "The neural network is achieving coherence levels we never saw in testing," he reported. "The consciousness core isn't just linking our minds, it's amplifying our natural human abilities to process information and react to changes." The Kryvak's fleet's first communication came exactly as their tactical simulations had predicted. A demand for surrender, encoded in mathematical patterns that reflected their rigid thinking. Sarah felt her crew's collective amusement at the aliens' inability to comprehend what they were facing. "Send them our response," she directed, and 200 minds worked in concert to craft a message that would confound the Kryvax's logical systems. They transmitted pure consciousness, human intuition and creativity encoded in quantum patterns that no conventional computer could properly decode. The enemy fleet's reaction was immediate. Their perfect formation wavered for a moment as their battle computers tried to process the unprecedented transmission. Through the quantum field, Sarah could feel her crew's satisfaction. They had already achieved their first victory, making the enemy question their assumptions. All stations, battle positions, Sarah projected, and the Atlas's consciousness core pulsed with renewed energy as 200 minds focused on the coming conflict. They were about to prove that human consciousness, elevated to its highest form, could overcome any obstacle. The real test was about to begin. The first wave of Kryvax ships moved with mathematical precision, their formation an expanding arc of crystalline hulls and charged weapons. Through the quantum network, Sarah felt her crew's collective consciousness processing the attack patterns at impossible speeds. The Atlas's hull rippled in response, quantum fields reshaping its structure to meet the coming assault. "They're using standard Kryvax battle algorithms," Lieutenant Commander Zhang's thoughts flowed through the network. "Attempting to box us in with overlapping fields of fire. Predictable." The enemy's first salvo lit up space, 500 energy beams converging on their position. But the Atlas moved like thought itself, its quantum field translating the crew's collective intuition into action faster than any computer could calculate. The ship flowed between the energy beams in a dance that defied conventional physics. "Neural load at 60% and holding," Maya reported, her consciousness monitoring the strain on their linked minds. "The quantum field is distributing the tactical processing evenly across all crew members." Through their shared awareness, Sarah felt Chief O'Connor redirecting power through the quantum matrices, the ship's energy systems responding to his decades of engineering instinct enhanced by quantum speed. The Atlas wasn't just dodging attacks, it was learning, adapting, evolving with each exchange. Now, Sarah projected through the network, and 200 minds acted as one. The Atlas's quantum weapons activated, not firing traditional energy beams but launching concentrated bursts of conscious intent. The attacks weren't just physical, they carried the weight of human thought, overwhelming the Kryvax ship's logical defense systems with patterns they couldn't process. The first 3 enemy vessels shattered, their crystalline hulls breaking apart as their computers failed to comprehend the quantum consciousness attacks. But the Kryvax responded with brutal efficiency, their remaining ships adjusting formation to launch an even more intense barrage. "They're adapting," Dr. Patel observed, his thoughts tinged with fascination even as he worked to stabilize the consciousness core. "Their battle computers are attempting to analyze our attack patterns. But they're looking for mathematical solutions to a consciousness-based strategy." The space around Jupiter became a hurricane of energy beams and quantum bursts. The Atlas moved like a dancer through the chaos, its form constantly shifting as the crew's collective consciousness anticipated each attack. They weren't just fighting with technology, they were fighting with the full power of human creativity and intuition. "Second wave incoming," David Wells projected, his tactical awareness expanded by the quantum field. "They're trying to overwhelm our processing capacity with simultaneous attacks from multiple vectors." Sarah felt the strain beginning to build in their linked minds as they worked to track thousands of incoming threats. But something unexpected was happening. The more intense the battle became, the more efficiently their collective consciousness operated. The quantum field was evolving, creating new neural pathways that allowed them to process information even faster. "The consciousness core is adapting to combat conditions," Dr. Patel reported with excitement. "Our neural efficiency is actually increasing under pressure. The human mind's ability to perform under stress is being amplified by the quantum field." Through their shared awareness, Sarah directed the Atlas into a series of maneuvers that should have been impossible. The ship spun through gaps in the Kryvax formation that existed for microseconds, its quantum weapons striking at vulnerabilities that only human intuition could identify. More enemy ships fell, their perfect logical defenses useless against attacks guided by enhanced human consciousness. But the Kryvax commanders were not fools. Their remaining ships began to pull back, adjusting their tactics. Through the quantum field, Sarah could feel them gathering data, their battle computers working to find patterns in the Atlas's seemingly chaotic movements. "They're trying to understand us," Lieutenant Rodriguez projected. "Their sensors are attempting to map our quantum field fluctuations. If they figure out how to predict our consciousness-based attacks." "They won't," Sarah responded through the network, her confidence flowing to the entire crew. "They're looking for a mathematical solution to a human problem. Let them analyze all they want, they can't quantify the human spirit." The Atlas surged forward, its quantum weapons charging for another assault. The crew's collective consciousness burned bright in the quantum field, their shared determination becoming a tangible force. They had proven they could fight against impossible odds. Now it was time to show the Kryvax that humanity's greatest strength wasn't its technology, it was its ability to transcend logical limitations. The battle had only begun, but already the enemy fleet's perfect formation was breaking down. Their logical certainty was crumbling in the face of something they had never encountered before, human consciousness operating at quantum speeds, guided by intuition and creativity they couldn't predict or control. The dance of light and shadow continued, and with each passing moment, the Atlas's crew grew stronger, their linked minds pushing the boundaries of what was possible. The Kryvax had brought 5,000 ships to a battle of technology. Instead, they found themselves in a battle of consciousness, and they were losing. The quantum field rippled with exhaustion. 4 hours of continuous combat had pushed the Atlas's neural network to limits they'd never reached in simulations. Through their shared consciousness, Sarah felt her crew's fatigue mixing with their determination, creating something unexpected in the quantum field. "Commander," Dr. Patel's thoughts carried a note of surprise. "The consciousness core is registering unusual patterns. Our emotional states are affecting the quantum field in ways we never predicted." Sarah understood what he meant. The crew's feelings, their fear, their hope, their sheer stubborn defiance, were becoming part of the ship's defense system. The quantum field wasn't just channeling their thoughts, it was amplifying their human essence. Lieutenant Rodriguez's consciousness flared with sudden insight. The Kryvax algorithms can't predict emotional responses. They're trying to calculate our next moves based on tactical efficiency, but we're not fighting with logic anymore. Through their linked awareness, Sarah watched as another wave of Kryvax ships advanced. Their formation was different now, adapted to counter the Atlas's previous strategies. But they still moved with that fundamental rigidity, the precision that was becoming their greatest weakness. "Show them what human unpredictability looks like," Sarah projected through the network. The crew's collective consciousness surged in response, their shared emotions creating new patterns in the quantum field. The Atlas moved in ways that defied not just physics but logic itself. Instead of taking the tactically optimal path, they chose the emotional one, diving straight into the heart of the enemy formation with a recklessness that no computer would ever recommend. "Their battle computers are struggling to compute our intent," David Wells reported, his tactical awareness expanded by the quantum field. "They can't understand why we'd choose a strategically inferior position." But Sarah and her crew knew what they were doing. The Kryvax ships, packed tightly together for maximum firing efficiency, couldn't react fast enough when the Atlas began projecting quantum consciousness waves infused with pure human emotion. Fear. Hope. Determination. Love for their home and everyone they were protecting. These feelings, amplified by the quantum field, crashed into the Kryvax ship's computer systems. Logic circuits designed to process tactical data found themselves drowning in the complexity of human emotional responses. "Their ships are experiencing cascade failures," Chief O'Connor projected, his engineering consciousness monitoring the effects. They never designed their systems to handle emotional data patterns. It's overwhelming their processing cores. Through their shared awareness, Sarah felt Dr. Patel's excitement as he analyzed the phenomenon. The consciousness core is converting our emotional states into quantum attack patterns. We're not just fighting with technology anymore, we're fighting with our humanity itself. The battle shifted into a new phase. The Atlas began projecting concentrated bursts of human consciousness, each carrying the weight of their combined emotional experiences. Kryvak's ships reeled under the assault, their logical systems unable to comprehend or counter attacks that operated outside the bounds of mathematical prediction. "They're trying to retreat," Lieutenant Commander Zhang observed. "Their command ships are calling for a tactical withdrawal. We've shocked them into uncertainty." But the strain was beginning to show. 200 minds linked together, sharing not just thoughts but the full spectrum of human emotion, was taking a toll even the quantum field couldn't fully mitigate. Neural load approaching critical levels, Maya warned, her consciousness working to stabilize the network. "We can't maintain this level of emotional projection much longer." Sarah felt the truth of it in their shared awareness. The crew was pushing themselves beyond their limits, their determination to protect Earth driving them to depths of emotional connection they'd never explored before. Through the quantum field, she could feel each crew member's individual story becoming part of their collective strength. Lieutenant Rodriguez thinking of her daughter back on Earth. Chief O'Connor remembering his father's lessons about pushing machines beyond their designed limits. Dr. Patel's lifetime of work leading to this moment of discovery. "Hold on," Sarah projected, her own emotions adding to the quantum field's intensity. "We've proven that consciousness is stronger than computation. That human unpredictability can overcome any predetermined strategy. Now we show them why you should never corner a species that thrives on impossible odds." The Atlas's quantum weapons charged again, this time carrying not just the crew's consciousness but the full weight of their shared humanity. They weren't just 200 people fighting to save Earth. They were the embodiment of human emotion and determination, operating at quantum speeds. The Kryvak's fleet's perfect formation had completely broken down. Their remaining ships moved with hesitation, their battle computers overwhelmed by the task of predicting opponents who acted on feeling rather than logic. But victory was still far from certain. Even as their tactics proved effective, the crew's neural load continued to climb. They were learning that humanity's greatest strength could also be its greatest vulnerability. The question now was whether they could endure the emotional strain long enough to force a final resolution. The quantum field blazed with the combined consciousness of 200 minds pushed to their absolute limits. The Atlas hung in space near Jupiter's orbit, its hull shimmering with patterns that reflected the crew's shared determination. Before them, the remaining 3,000 Kryvak's ships had regrouped into a new formation, no longer a perfect pyramid, but a desperate circle of crystalline vessels. "They're preparing for a final assault," David Wells projected through the network. All remaining ships charging weapons to maximum capacity. Sarah felt the crew's exhaustion through their neural link, but there was something else growing stronger in their shared consciousness, a deep understanding that transcended their physical fatigue. The quantum field wasn't just connecting their minds anymore, it was evolving into something unprecedented. "Commander," Dr. Patel's thoughts carried a mixture of awe and revelation. "The consciousness core, it's not just linking us to the ship. It's linking us to each other in ways we never imagined. Our collective emotional state is creating new quantum patterns, new possibilities." Through their shared awareness, Sarah could feel what he meant. Hours of combat had forced them to sink their minds more deeply than any simulation had prepared them for. They weren't just sharing thoughts and emotions, they were becoming a new form of collective consciousness. "The Kryvaks are broadcasting," Lieutenant Rodriguez reported. They're asking what we are." For the first time, Sarah sensed fear in the enemy's transmission patterns. The Kryvaks, with all their technological superiority, were facing something that challenged their fundamental understanding of warfare. They had come expecting to fight machines and instead found themselves battling human consciousness itself. Show them, Sarah projected through the network. Show them exactly what humanity is capable of. The Atlas's quantum field pulsed as 200 minds focused their combined will. They weren't just fighting with weapons anymore, they were reaching out with their consciousness, projecting not just emotions but understanding. Through the quantum network, they could feel the Kryvax pilots in their ships, could sense their rigid thought patterns beginning to crack under the weight of human awareness. Neural synchronization at 120%, Maya announced, her surprise rippling through the network. We're exceeding theoretical limits. The quantum field it's harmonizing our consciousness in ways we never thought possible. Chief O'Connor's engineering insight merged with Dr. Patel's theoretical knowledge, creating new understanding that flowed through their shared consciousness. The Atlas wasn't just a ship anymore, it had become a bridge between species, a way to communicate that transcended traditional barriers. The Kryvax fleet's energy weapons powered up, preparing for their final attack. But something was changing in their formation. Through the quantum field, Sarah could sense confusion spreading through their ranks as their logical systems struggled to process what they were experiencing. Now, Sarah projected, and the Atlas unleashed its ultimate capability. Not a weapon, but a revelation. The quantum field expanded, carrying with it the full spectrum of human consciousness, not just their thoughts and emotions, but their capacity for growth, for change, for understanding beyond the limits of pure logic. It washed over the Kryvax fleet like a tide of awareness, showing them something their rigid hierarchies had never prepared them for. They saw Earth through human eyes. Felt human determination, human creativity, human love. Understood, finally, that they had catastrophically underestimated not just humanity's technology, but their very nature. The effect was immediate and unprecedented. Kryvax ships began powering down their weapons, their perfect formation dissolving not in defeat, but in comprehension. Their next transmission carried something entirely new, not surrender, but recognition. They're standing down, Lieutenant Commander Zhang reported, his tactical consciousness tracking the enemy fleet status. All weapons powering down. Their command ships are requesting dialogue. Through the quantum field, Sarah felt her crew's collective realization. They had achieved something far greater than military victory. They had forced an advanced species to recognize humanity not as primitive beings to be conquered, but as equals worthy of respect and understanding. Neural load stabilizing, Maya projected. The quantum field has reached a new equilibrium. We can maintain this level of consciousness sharing indefinitely. Dr. Patel's thoughts radiated pure joy at the discovery. We've done more than defend Earth. We've evolved human consciousness to a new level. Created a way to share understanding across the barriers of species and culture. The Atlas hung in space between Earth and the Kryvax fleet, its quantum field now a bridge of consciousness between two civilizations. They had come seeking a battle and found enlightenment instead. Through their shared awareness, Sarah felt her crew's pride and exhaustion, their relief and triumph, but most of all their hope for what this moment meant for humanity's future. Send word to Earth, Sarah projected through the network. Tell them that humanity has proved itself. Not through superior firepower or better technology, but through the one thing that truly sets us apart, our capacity to transcend our limitations and reach new levels of understanding. The quantum field pulsed with their shared consciousness, a symphony of human thought and emotion that had changed the course of history. They had faced impossible odds and emerged not just victorious, but transformed. The Atlas had become more than a ship, its crew more than individuals. Together, they had shown the galaxy that humanity's greatest strength lay not in its weapons, but in its infinite capacity for growth and understanding. The stars seemed brighter somehow, witnessing this moment of transformation. Humanity had taken its first steps into a larger universe, not through conquest but through consciousness itself. The real journey was just beginning.